A single father stood in the middle of a crowded corporate lobby, clutching a worn leather folder that held years of honest work, while the CEO pointed toward the glass doors and declared that he would never work there again. Employees froze, conversations died, and every eye followed the father as he quietly reached into his pocket, unlocked his phone, and placed a single call to the mayor. Within minutes, the building that had celebrated power suddenly began trembling under the weight of truth, and the woman who believed she controlled everyone's future realized she had underestimated the quiet strength of one ordinary man. Before we begin this emotional journey, if you believe kindness is stronger than pride, forgiveness is more powerful than revenge, and every person deserves a second chance, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment sharing where you're watching from, share this story with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel to become part of our growing family. Every person inside Harrow Financial believed that success belonged only to those who spoke the loudest. The company headquarters towered over the city, its polished windows reflecting blue skies and bright sunshine, while executives hurried through the lobby believing they were untouchable. Among them walked Everett Cole, a widowed single father whose gentle smile never revealed how many sacrifices he made before sunrise each day. Every morning he prepared breakfast for his 8-year-old daughter, Hazel, braided her hair as best he could despite never learning properly, packed her lunch with handwritten notes, dropped her at school, and then hurried to work without ever arriving late. His co-workers knew him as dependable, but few understood the quiet battles hidden behind his calm expression. Hazel had become Everett's entire world after illness stole her mother 5 years earlier. She never complained about living in a modest apartment or wearing hand-me-down clothes. Instead, she proudly told her classmates that her father could fix almost anything except broken hearts, although every afternoon he somehow managed to mend hers with warm hugs and patient words. Everett promised himself that no matter how difficult life became, his daughter would always grow up believing that honesty mattered more than wealth. The company's ambitious CEO, Vivian Mercer, viewed life very differently. She believed compassion slowed progress and kindness was a weakness competitors could exploit. Since inheriting the company from investors who admired aggressive leadership, she had transformed the workplace into an environment ruled by fear. Employees whispered before speaking, avoided mistakes at any cost, and rarely smiled in meetings. Vivian admired efficiency above humanity, and she considered Everett's gentle reputation unnecessary in a business focused on profits. One bright afternoon the company prepared for an important presentation involving a massive redevelopment project that promised hundreds of new jobs throughout the city. Local officials, community leaders, and investors would soon arrive. Everett had spent months organizing compliance records that ensured every permit, environmental review, and safety inspection remained accurate. While others chased recognition, he quietly protected the company from costly mistakes. Only hours before the presentation, Everett discovered something alarming inside the final documentation. Several environmental reports had been replaced with altered versions hiding dangerous contamination beneath the proposed construction site. If approved, families could eventually live on unsafe land. Everett immediately informed senior managers, expecting gratitude for catching the error. Instead, panic spread through executive offices. Vivian refused to delay the announcement because investors had already arrived. She insisted the paperwork remain untouched until after contracts were signed. Everett respectfully explained that approving false documents could place thousands of residents at risk and expose the company to criminal investigations. His refusal to stay silent embarrassed the executives gathered around the conference table. Rather than admitting the problem, Vivian publicly accused Everett of sabotaging the company's future. She marched into the lobby where employees and visitors waited, held up his folder of corrected reports, and declared that he had betrayed the organization. Her voice echoed through the building as she threatened that he would never work there again and ordered security to escort him outside. Everett never argued. He simply collected the scattered pages, thanked the security officers for treating him respectfully, and walked into the sunlight. Once outside, he took a slow breath, looked toward the City Hall building visible across the skyline, and made one calm phone call. The person answering was not an assistant or receptionist. It was Mayor Graham Ellison himself. Years earlier, before politics, Graham had volunteered with a neighborhood rebuilding project after severe flooding devastated several communities. Everett had quietly organized volunteers, repaired damaged homes, and coordinated supplies without asking for recognition. Graham never forgot the humble father who spent weeks helping strangers while carrying his young daughter on his shoulders between work shifts. They remained friends, though Everett rarely asked anyone for favors. This call was different. Everett did not request special treatment or revenge. He simply explained that false environmental reports appeared ready for official approval and innocent families could suffer if nobody investigated immediately. Mayor Ellison thanked him and promised only one thing. The truth deserved daylight. Within the hour, inspectors from the city's ethics office, environmental department, and public accountability commission arrived at Harrow Financial before the public announcement began. Investors who expected celebration instead watched officials carefully review documents. Employees exchanged nervous glances as sealed evidence boxes appeared throughout executive offices. Vivian remained confident at first. She believed powerful lawyers could dismiss the investigation quickly. But every corrected document Everett had prepared matched original government records perfectly. Every alteration pointed toward executives attempting to hide expensive cleanup costs. News spread rapidly across the business district. Reporters gathered outside the building as city officials confirmed that the investigation focused on document manipulation rather than Everett's conduct. Workers who had quietly feared retaliation finally found the courage to tell investigators about months of pressure to ignore safety concerns. Hazel waited after school with a worried expression because classmates had heard rumors online claiming her father had been fired for dishonesty. When Everett arrived to pick her up, she searched his face for answers. Instead of speaking bitterly about humiliation, he knelt beside her and gently explained that telling the truth sometimes carried a heavy price before it brought peace. Hazel slipped her small hand into his and whispered that she believed him even if the whole world didn't. In that simple moment, Everett realized he had already succeeded as a father. The following days proved difficult. Bills continued arriving while job opportunities disappeared because rumors often traveled faster than facts. Everett sold an old motorcycle he loved to cover rent and quietly accepted temporary maintenance work at a community center. He repaired playground equipment, painted classrooms, and smiled at children who never knew they were being helped by someone whose integrity was making headlines across the city. Meanwhile, Mayor Ellison refused to influence the investigation beyond ensuring transparency. He publicly stated that every citizen deserved equal treatment under the law regardless of wealth or position. His words encouraged more witnesses to come forward. Among those witnesses was Eleanor Brooks, a retired engineer who had helped design the redevelopment project years earlier. She recognized one altered report released during the investigation and revealed that executives had ignored her repeated warnings about contamination. Her testimony confirmed that Everett had tried to prevent a dangerous mistake rather than create one. The city suspended the project until the land could be cleaned properly. Although investors initially panicked, many later admitted they respected honesty more than hidden risks. Several companies withdrew support from Harrow Financial's leadership but expressed admiration for the employee who protected future residents. Vivian's confidence slowly dissolved into regret. For the first time in years she sat alone inside her office without anyone rushing to agree with her decisions. She reviewed security footage showing Everett calmly gathering papers while others watched silently. She realized she had mistaken quiet character for weakness. Weeks later, the company's board completed its internal review. Executives responsible for altering documents resigned or faced legal consequences. Vivian herself lost her position after directors concluded her leadership had created a culture where fear replaced responsibility. Everett expected nothing from these events. He continued working honestly at the community center, believing peace mattered more than prestige. Then one sunny afternoon he received an invitation to City Hall. Mayor Ellison announced a new partnership dedicated to ethical urban development and community rebuilding. Rather than choosing another ambitious executive, he asked Everett to lead public accountability initiatives because trust could never be purchased with money. Citizens, contractors, schools, and local businesses applauded as the humble single father accepted the responsibility with tears quietly filling his eyes. Hazel sat proudly in the front row wearing her brightest smile. She no longer worried about classmates repeating cruel rumors because the truth had become impossible to ignore. Her father had not defeated powerful people through anger. He had protected strangers simply because it was the right thing to do. Months passed, and the once contaminated construction site transformed after proper environmental restoration. Families eventually moved into safe homes built with transparency, stronger regulations, and community oversight inspired by Everett's example. Children laughed in parks that existed because one father refused to remain silent. One afternoon, while attending a public dedication ceremony beneath warm sunshine, Everett noticed Vivian standing quietly near the edge of the crowd. She no longer wore expensive confidence across her face. Instead, she carried the weary expression of someone forced to confront painful truths about herself. She approached with genuine humility and admitted that losing her position had been devastating, but even more painful was realizing how many good people she had hurt through pride. She thanked Everett for choosing honesty instead of humiliation when he easily could have destroyed her reputation with bitterness. Everett understood that forgiveness never erased consequences, but it allowed wounded hearts to heal. He accepted her apology sincerely and encouraged her to use the experience to build a better future. For the first time in many years, Vivian smiled without pretending. As seasons changed, Everett's office walls filled not with awards but with children's drawings from neighborhoods improved through honest leadership. Hazel often visited after school, proudly helping organize community events and reminding everyone that courage sometimes looked like a quiet parent carrying groceries, paying bills, and refusing to compromise values when nobody seemed to notice. Before this story comes to its conclusion, we'd love to hear from you. Please leave a meaningful comment telling us whether you believe integrity is worth protecting even when it costs everything, or share a moment when honesty changed your own life. The greatest victories are rarely won by the loudest voices. They belong to ordinary people who quietly choose what is right when choosing what is easy would be far more comfortable. Everett never became a hero because he called the mayor. He became a hero because he first chose to protect people he would never meet, even when it threatened his livelihood. His daughter grew up learning that true strength is measured not by titles, wealth, or influence, but by the courage to stand alone for the truth until others find the courage to stand beside you. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey. Thank you for being part of our community, where every story reminds us that kindness, integrity, forgiveness, and hope still have the power to change lives.